Hi, this is David Newton speaking. We have a very special interview today with Bruce Carter. Now, here's a guy who has for many years been able to sell multiple tens of thousands of dollars worth of workshops, courses, retreats on a weekly basis, tens of thousands of dollars per week in sales, mind you. So he really knows his beans, and he knows techniques that you can use with absolute certainty to get results yourself for selling your courses over the phone and in person-to-person type of one-on-one level. So let's dive straight into this interview. Bruce Carter, take some notes. You'll learn some very valuable material. Replay this video if you need to get the message straight on what Bruce is doing, because the messages that he has is extremely important if you want to copy his kind of results for your seminars, workshops, or retreats. Let's go straight into it.
Hi, my name is Bruce Carter. I've sold a whole range of trainings, starting from many years ago, where I sold a guy called Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, who was a sales trainer. I then moved on to Anthony Robbins over a number of different campaigns. I sold Anthony Robbins when he came to Australia. More recently, after that, I went in and sold government training programs in the RTO, the Registered Training Organisations, trainings into different corporates and different companies. More recently, I extensively sold personal development trainings over 3 years into NLP, hypnotherapy trainings, and currently I'm working in the property sector, where we sell education and trainings for people who want to get into commercial property.
What is it, the type of ways that you've sold these courses? Can you explain how that works?
Well, there's only two ways to sell courses, right? You're either face-to-face or you're over the telephone. So, and I've done both.
So explain, what's the difference between the two?
Oh, what's the difference? So if you look at it through information, right? So face-to-face, you can gauge people's body language and their voice tonality. You can draw pictures. You can do it visually as well as auditory. Face-to-face. So you got more information to work with in terms of selling people into something.
So in an actual setting, how did you do that face-to-face? Was it like at a preview seminar, or did you meet with them one-to-one? How did that actually work in practicality?
Generally it was leads that would come into to a company, and then you would set an appointment for someone to come in and see face-to-face. So depending on whether the company, whether it was a really small company, you might meet someone at a cafe and sell them into a program, or you might bring them into the office and sit them down, in a, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, exactly, a boardroom or something like that. And then you would sit down and you'd talk them through the process. So the process between face-to-face selling and phone selling, the strategy's pretty similar.
Okay.
You're gathering information, you're doing it in a certain way. The thing about the phone selling is, you've got to remember this, is that it's like someone whispering in your ear, if you want to know the real difference. So the phone has limitations in terms that you're only using the auditory channel of communication to get your idea across. And the other challenge with by phone is, you've got to think about it this way, right? It's like someone's whispering in your ear. So every feeling, every thought, every tonation will be picked up by the other person on the other end of the phone. So if you're feeling confident, the person will find that. If you're feeling concerned or afraid to close, or you've got an incongruency in your voice or whatever, that will be felt by the person on the other end of the phone.
So it's fairly sensitive.
So the phone is actually a really sensitive form of communication that you need to be aware of. So you need to make sure that you're in the best emotional state when you get on that phone to actually sell someone.
Okay, Bruce, what are 3 things that you would say are most important for selling on the telephone? Like ABC 1, 2, 3. What would you say are the top 3 things you need to focus on?
Well, not just on the phone, but this is broadly speaking around sales, right? So the 3 things you got to consider when you get in and you want to sell something is the number one primary thing is your emotional state. So your state has to be upbeat, it has to be enthusiastic, it has to be feel passionate to the other person on the end of the phone, and the real state you want is wanting, right? So you've got to have the person wanting what it is you're selling. So you've got to want that product yourself. Like you've got to want it in your own life, in a way, in order to be able to transfer that emotional state to the client you're trying to sell to. The second thing that's critical in sales is beliefs, right? You have to be able to believe that that you can sell the product. And think about it, right? So,
can you explain a bit further what you mean by belief?
Beliefs will drive your communication more than what you can ever think. So you have to believe that who you're selling to has the money for a start, or could get the money, is a really powerful belief. But most people don't. A lot of salespeople will go into a call to see if someone has the money, or they will believe that maybe the product's too expensive, what they're trying to sell, or they'll have these beliefs around. People don't have $1,000 in the bank to buy a product like this. Okay? So you've got to make sure that your belief system is really in line with driving the result through. So you need to clear all that out and go full on into the conversation, knowing that the person has the money or has the capability of getting the money to buy your product.
And what's the third thing?
The third thing is strategy. So strategy is the actionable steps that you take in order to get the result through. What's the first actionable step? Is creating rapport. What's the second, third, fourth, fifth, like that, to the point where you're closing the sale. So you need emotional state, you need the right beliefs, and you need the right actionable strategy to get the result.
So Bruce, can you give me an example of maybe, say, selling a weekend workshop? What would you actually do with a prospect at the end of a telephone? Can you give us a for instance?
Okay, so here's typically what happens, right? As you get a lead coming in, so the only thing you've got on that is probably a name, a telephone number, an email address on that lead. Okay, so here's the quick steps that you want to take. First of all, you obviously make the phone call, ring the person up, get the person on the other end of the phone. Then you want to ask, is it a good time to speak? Right? Okay, I know you weren't expecting this call. Have I got you at a good time to catch up about your inquiry on a personal development course? Okay, number one, get permission to talk to someone. We're all busy, and there's nothing worse than getting someone on the phone. They ramble on straight away, and you're busy cooking dinner or something like that. You'll never get a sale unless you've got 100% divided attention on the client, and they've got 100% divided attention on you. Okay, so the second thing you want to do is you want to understand what that person wants. Right? Okay, so if it's personal development, like what are you looking for? Are you looking to, change your life around your employment? Do you want to create a different career? Do you want to do what you love? Or is it around health or well-being? What is it you're really looking for? Okay, what is the thing that's going to change? And what's the evidence to say that you got what you want as well? So you're looking to really understand that client. Yeah, what is the evidence? Oh, the evidence is that I'm owning a new car and I've bought a new house, or I'm making $200,000 a year or whatever, or I'm becoming fit and healthy and I've lost 20 kilos and I can see my muscle tone and I've got more energy. So you're looking to help the person understand what it is they want. So from you want to know what it is they really want, like why. It's the why behind the sale. Like why did they make the inquiry? Which is a great question. Why did you reach out to us? Why did you decide to look at personal development right here and now? Uh-huh. So the first thing you got to get in your head is why, and then you want to make sure how they're going to do it. Like, okay, do they have the money at this point? Yeah, or could they get it? The second thing is once you understand why they're doing it, then you need to show them the value of doing it your way. Okay, so the second key thing you want is value. Okay, so here's what personal development does you. It teaches you how your brain works. It teaches you how to create self-motivation to do things. It teaches you how to focus attention on setting goals to lose weight. These are the key things is what it does. So you're showing them what's important about personal development and getting what they're looking for. And then the second thing the third thing is that you want to layer out specifically how your process is, or how your service or product, or how that weekend course operates. So let me tell you, John, this is how our weekend operates, right? You'll come in, you'll register, you'll meet a whole lot of like-minded people exactly like yourself. You'll walk into the room, you'll sit down, we'll show you the key concepts on partly lectured on a PowerPoint presentation, partly lectured, through someone keynote speaking, whatever that is. And then you'll go off and you'll do exercises in order to cement in the ideas very carefully. And then you'll come back into the room again. The room will debrief itself and get new distinctions from other people in the room. And then by the time you've worked through the 2 days, you can expect to have your certificate in your hand as a person who's done this course, right? So you're looking to layer it out so in the person's mind they're almost walking themselves through that weekend course so they know, that's what they've got. The goal here, if you really want to go deeper, the goal here is to clear out any fear, doubt and insecurity through the process, so they know very clearly what they're doing and they're excited by every step of the way and what they're trying to achieve.
So it's sort of like tasting the ice cream before they've bought it. Yeah.
Giving them a description of tasting the ice cream and what the result will be at the end of the day.
And how would you then move that to, say, closing the sale, getting them to buy? You've got them interested there at that point and they've seen the value. What happens next?
If you've figured out what they want or need, and you've shown the value of getting what they want or need through this particular process, and you've laid out very clearly how the process works when they've paid their money, right? The close becomes very natural, and it's really a matter of going to them, well, what do you think?
Okay, yeah. So at that point, do you say, you get a bit of feedback, and then you might say, do you want to
pay
for this in one hit, or
do you want to know how to close a sale? Okay, yeah. So if you go follow those 3 logical steps, okay, and then then the third step is where you get into close. So that some of the lines I'd use is like, look, John, if you're comfortable placing the deposit down now on a credit card, I can move you forward straight away. The thing that comes out of that, I'll either go, yes, I want to put it on a credit card, or no, I don't want to trust you enough over the phone to put it on a credit card. Can you send me your bank details and I'll direct deposit across because I feel secure? Which the answer is that's fine. Or the thing that comes up and goes, I'm not too sure about this particular point. So then you handle the objection around that, and then you move them back through for a close. Or you may send them information so that they can see very clearly the information that how the course works, and then you ring them up another couple of days later and you ask them, what are you thinking? Would you like to go ahead?
Now, when you're doing a call like that, how long would a call like that on average take? I mean, it's obviously not. You're obviously not making 5 calls in an hour to do that. You probably what's a typical call length usually go for?
I think if you're serious and you want to sell, say, a $700 to let's say a $5,000 product, I think seriously your calls will be between 30 minutes and 45 minutes. Okay. The longer you spend on the phone with someone, the more likely they are to buy.
Right. In other words, you're building rapport there over that longer period of time.
Yep. Right. So you want to structure that call through those three phases, 3 or 4 phases, to take about 30 minutes plus.
Right. So Bruce, it does sound like you've got a tremendous amount of experience there, and it's extremely valuable because it obviously supports you quite nicely today. If you were to visit your earlier self back a few decades ago, what would you do differently then as opposed to what you're doing now? What would you tell yourself then to do?
Well, I think the number one thing I've learned is to really understand what the client's going through or the prospect's going through to buy. Okay, so you want to be able to identify, well, what is it about our product or service or workshop or whatever that is? What is it? What are the reasons why they wouldn't buy it? Okay, and then take those reasons and turn them around so that they actually become benefits to buy it. So a lot of what I do is nut out stuff on a whiteboard or on paper before I get on the phone to sell. So I'm looking to build a very deliberate strategy around that, and one of the key things is understanding, well, why wouldn't they buy? And one of the things is, okay, the product's $5,000, they wouldn't buy it because they would think $5,000 is too much. Is one of the objections that might be out there, right?
And you've sold higher price courses than that too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've sold $30,000 courses and courses that sold for $20,000 for a week and stuff like that, right? So what you're looking to do is, if you're going to communicate something, you want to be able to communicate like massive value behind the $5,000, so that the $5,000 looks insignificant compared to, say, $100,000 that they might get back in their first year of becoming, say, a coach, a personal development coach. And how are you going to communicate earning $100,000 in your first year so that the $5,000 becomes insignificant? Is one of the things. So, and you can't do that while you're on the phone. You have to nut out those ideas before you get on the phone, and then communicate them through your strategy when you get someone on the phone. That's one of the key things. And the other key thing is designing your presentation, whether it's face to face or over the phone, it's the same, but designing it around talk tracks. Like, how are you going to explain the product or the service that you're selling? Like, how are you going to explain your workshop? Nutting it out in a very succinct way and wording it in the best possible light to get the result you're looking for. Yeah? Like, what are the key questions you're going to ask or you need to ask in order to identify what that person wants and why they have rung you or contacted you to look at personal development or whatever that might be.
So it's a case of you're using questions as a way to really harness getting their thought processes around what they need to think about.
Yeah, it's partly questions, but the point I want to make here is that design the process on paper before you get on the phone to do it. Okay. It may feel initially quite unnatural to communicate through these ideas, right? Okay?
Yeah.
Because you might normally communicate a lot more fluidly and, probably all over the place or whatever. But bear in mind, when you get on the phone there, you want to be able to communicate things in really good talk tracks all the way through, even right to the point as what am I going to say to the person to get them to actually buy it.
Maintain their focus.
Maintain their focus.
Or your own focus.
Yeah, keep everything clear, simple and certain all the way through the process.
Bruce, what's one last thought that you would like to leave with people about selling seminars, workshops and courses? What would you like to say to that?
Okay, look. Say you're selling a workshop, seminar, or course, and you're delivering it, and you're delivering a certain outcome at the end of the weekend, right? Now, for argument's sake, say you've never delivered it before. Okay, so I'm guessing if this is the case, or even if you deliver a few, maybe a lot, doesn't matter. I'm guessing you have a certain level of stress, anxiety about what's going to happen in the weekend. Are people going to get the result they want? Are things going to go wrong? Is there going to be enough people in the room to even look like I'm half successful? Whatever that is, am I going to make enough money? Blah 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 blah. Out of the course you're trying to sell, right? Okay. So number one, first of all, these feelings are normal. Okay, it doesn't mean anything but that, is feelings are normal. So, the best advice I can give you around about that, don't try and pump up false enthusiasm. Don't try and be over the top of passion about what you're selling. The number one thing you want when you deliver something to sell is certainty. So you use your voice so that everything you say is rock solid and certain all the way through that process. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, the person on the other end of the phone or the lead that you're sitting across from at a table, what they're looking for is certainty. Am I certain that this is going to give me the result that I want? Am I certain that there's going to be the best value for you? Am I certain that if I put my money down on the line, am I going to get what I want? Okay, so the number one thing that you want to do is deliver certainty through your process, and certainty will get you the result more than anything else.
That's a very good parting gift that you've given to them there, Bruce. Very good parting gift. So thank you once again today.
I'm certain of that.
So, what did you think of that? Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the Bruce Carter interview and what you will do differently from here on in with your sales calls and your face-to-face meetings with your prospects that you are trying to sell into your events. Now, before you go, how do you calculate how much money you're going to make, profit or loss, with your next seminar, workshop, event? Check out this next video. It will hold the key in how you can improve your profit and loss with your events. Hey, why run an event if you're going to run it at a loss, unless you have a specific reason? But more importantly, how are you going to make it run at a profit? So check this out on our next video. This is David Newton speaking.